Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave.
Fix this focus thing.
Virginia Manor, 3712 East Manhattan. Callers with CSD and multiple location should be on scene right now on Black 200. They were notified that a 10-year-old black male was on the Snapchat laying a magazine into a firearm yesterday. Checking Kavan Reese Woods and his mother, Shania Reese. They should be on scene right now. 3712 East Manhattan, 321.
We'll see if we can get him. Well, just like I told everybody when we started the family. All right. Here we go.
Hey, Kevin Stewart, the guy that was talking to you earlier when you walked in, he said he did everything like a month he did, but you never uploaded his IDs. He said you took his IDs. And it's not uploaded and his docs are not open. Kevin Stewart?
Okay. Well, if I didn't upload it, it means I forgot to, but I will have it in my file here. Kevin Stewart?
Yeah, and I'm gonna reach out, see if he did orientation, because I don't know if that's why they're open.
Well, I'll have it in Kevin Stewart.
That we are going to make here. There are a lot of myths, there are a lot of misconceptions, both surrounding this shooting in Wisconsin and homeschooling. And you know, we always say here, hey, we're not really, we're really valueless solutions. And a lot of people think that homeschooling is beyond their grasp. It's not. It's closer than you think. And I certainly would wager that a lot of you are considering it right now, considering what you are seeing going on in schools. And comment below if you homeschool your kids, how it's gone. And if you don't, if you're considering it, or what you think the biggest hurdles are to overcome. We're going to discuss that. And also Syria CNN a little bit, because there's an update there. But that, and just, you know, hey, look, Rumble Premium, none of this happens without you. 2 more days of this show, and then the big Christmas special, of course, on Thursday. And we're going to see you in the new year. If you are watching today, at some point, especially when discussing school shootings, because no doubt there will be inappropriate jokes told, you might see this. Head on over to Rumble. It's a live show weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern. You know how we could tell it was a female shooter? Because she mostly missed. I just had to get it out. I wasn't gonna be able to wait.
Should we dump
No, we shouldn't. Humor is a rubber tip sword. It's a way to make a point without drawing blood. All right, it doesn't mean if you make a joke about something, it doesn't mean that you're making light of the situation.
No,
it's a way to deal with things. Captain Morgan, CEO number 2. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Yeah, thank you. Why do you think I was a little spicy off the jump? Right?
Oh, that was you spicy. That was you spicy.
Not just a tiny bit.
Oh,
spicy.
I'd hate to be the missus. That's you spicy in the bedroom. Hey, tonight I want. Hey, babe, I want to spice it up. Maybe we'll do sex completely regular.
Put your shirt on.
First pump is free. Maybe I'll tell a funny joke too between now and the end of the show. Hey, listen, Die Hard is not a Christmas movie.
No.
Why would you do that?
What do you mean? Why would I believe? It's what I believe. In the entire time you've known me,
I came in the spirit of Trump Claus.
Yeah.
Right?
I get it.
And you came with Die Hard is not a Christmas.
Well, look, okay, that's up. I'll give you this.
That was
a gray
choice.
area. It's up for
you
debate.
You had 3 shirts to pick from. You chose that one.
You know what is not up for debate?
What is?
I make this color look better.
You do.
All right. And when you hear this, you know him, you love him. Friday, Saturday, December 27th and 28th at the Tacoma Comedy Club, Tacoma, Washington. Mr. Josh Firestein, how are you?
I'm good. Good.
Don't let him rain on your parade.
I'm not, dude. I've had a good week so far.
Yeah.
Ready for Christmas, dude. You're not gonna rain on my parade. He keeps threatening me to fire me, though.
Yeah, he does. But guess what? I can pull rank.
Oh, nice.
I'll fire him. I'll give you his job.
Oh, no.
Then you'll quit.
No, I don't want.
And then I'll just rehire you all back to your same place. And you're like,
oh, it's better this way.
It's the art of the deal.
Make you really appreciate what you have.
Yeah. Speaking of which, here's a guy who wants to make a deal with you as to what is permissible and what is not.
Thank you, Smoking Louder.
Islamists have not gotten the memo that, look, I respect everyone has a right to practice their own religion, worship freely, but we don't have to follow your rules, especially when I think they're stupid. So, here's an Islamic man letting you know, as it relates to Christmas, what is halal and what is not.
This is a reminder that celebrating Christmas is not halal. Putting up a Christmas tree is not halal. Wishing people a happy Christmas or a Merry Christmas is not halal. Putting up red, white, and green lights or clothing or decoration is not halal.
I'm seeing a trend.
Attending Christmas parties is also not halal. Giving people gifts or presents on Christmas is also not halal. Drinking eggnog is actually halal, unless you're doing it to imitate the non-Muslims. The reason for all of this is that the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Man tashabbaha biqawmin fahuwa minhum." That whoever imitates a people, then he is one of them. So as a Muslim, you should be confident in your religion. Be proud that you are a Muslim. Don't try to be someone that you are not.
Pubic hair beards, halal.
Apparently.
And I get it. It's their religion and halal and not halal. Of course, they don't have to celebrate Christmas, but I didn't know that wearing red and green was not halal.
I didn't know that.
And white has to red, green, and white.
Yeah.
You know what? You can still be a Crip, though.
Yes, you can.
There you go.
You still wear blue.
I guess it's also fine to be a Latin king. You can be.
Oh, I don't know what they
I
wear.
think they wear gold and yellow.
I thought it was wife beaters.
Didn't he just he said that you couldn't imitate, you become like who you imitate. You just imitated like a TikTok influencer.
Yes, exactly.
Also, by that logic, a trans woman is a woman. That is halal.
There you go. I don't understand the logic, but I'll go with it.
If you're imitating something, then it's halal.
Oh,
man, baby.
No, it's not halal to imitate.
It's not halal.
It's not halal to
Not
imitate.
halal.
I don't understand it because
More
the thing
kosher guy.
with Islam, it's like, oh, we believe that Jesus is one of our holiest prophets, except the fact that we also believe that the apostles lied and he wasn't actually, he didn't actually raise from the dead, and they hid the body, which is almost, it's almost like that's blasphemous. So it's funny when you see those in Islam say that painting the prophet Muhammad peace something on him, that's not allowed, but the entire religion is based on something blasphemous. But here's the kicker. I'm a Christian. We don't care. Yeah, that's fine. You want to go burn a Bible? I don't care. You want to say that Jesus didn't die and rise from the dead? Oh, okay. Yeah. That's fine. It's Christian version of halal, which really just means it's fine. It's not too offensive in our sewing group. Now, elsewhere in the Islamic Western world, a convicted terrorist suing a pub over a deeply offensive sign is halal. Yeah, that's okay. This is the thing. It's the intellectual, the ideological terrorism that you see across the Western world. The overlay here is from the Telegraph. The person's name is Khalid Baka, is suing a pub called Saracens for an insensitive depiction of an Arab, which, of course, look, people have the right to freedom of speech.
Also,
hold on a second. To be fair, that's the updated one. To be fair, we do have a picture of the earlier pub in question. That would seem,
Well, I seem pretty accurate, not offensive, honestly.
Wait, by suing the pub, isn't he imitating someone and not being halal?
He's imitating a Jew.
Oh, he's also imitating Ed Sheeran, apparently.
Yes.
Or a leprchaun. Not halal.
Not halal. I was going to try and make a joke, but I don't know any Ed Sheeran songs. This guy, by the way, was
Your legs don't work like they used to before.
Is that a song?
Because you blew them up. Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice.
That's not an Ed Sheeran.
No,
it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Sounds
No,
like
it's not.
pandering.
You're lying.
This same person, by the way, so you can't have a sign depicting Arabs in a way that is offensive or depicting Muslims in a way that is offensive. But this person who is suing was previously jailed for distributing jihadi literature.
Oh.
Just to be clear. Now, see, to me, that's not halal. But it's just a matter of opinion.
We need a word. They have halal. Jews have kosher.
We don't have
We
anything.
need something, dude.
Well, the WASP equivalent is there gluten in it?
Oh, come on.
I don't know if there's gluten. I don't. Do you have celiac disease? Oh no, you're just trendy. Okay, that's right. Last year you were a vegan. Now you're carnivore. I don't want to hear anything from you.
How about chill? It's not chill.
That's not chill. Yeah, I don't know. They just make up words.
We just let you eat whatever you want.
Yeah, pretty much. We don't care.
We're nice
Shrimp,
about it.
it's fine. It's disgusting. It's
Oh,
fine.
you eat the poop. It's gross.
It's gross.
Ew.
You don't want to devein the shrimp. Devein the best part.
No,
Now,
it's not. No, it's not.
it's actually. Remember we talked about this, or was it this week? No, it was last week.
Late last
So it was
week,
late
yeah.
last week with CNN's Clarissa Ward, the Syrian prisoner and we thought that it might have been staged, right? We said we have to be careful because, of course, our heart goes out to this man if, in fact, he is an innocent prisoner. But then we continued to dump on him for like a good 10 minutes because we didn't believe that it was genuine.
And I said, wait, maybe he was in jail for a reason.
Right, yes, yes, exactly. You really did.
Might be free prisoner, I don't know.
So we might even want to switch this one to Josh, but that brings us to this week's Crowder Call.
Come, let Zoltar tell you more.
I'm gonna the next pitch ball right past the flag.
We're gonna win the game, I guarantee it.
So CNN released this really weird video. A lot of people think this is fake, and by that I mean it's allegedly fake, and by that I mean it's clearly fake. Clarissa Ward just happened to discover a prisoner of the Assad regime. Pause. What do you stop at Burberry on the way over? That's the cleanest jacket ever.
That's a Burlington Koufax jacket right there.
Anyone have one of these coats? It is a magnet. It's like you're wearing a Swiffer around your neck. Guy just walked out of the LL Bean catalog. And what do they have? Just for men? That is a perfectly trimmed beard right there. By the way, when they're in there, there's a camera. They already blew off the lock with gunfire, and they're in there.
I don't think it actually happened. You don't tell them.
They're in there with a boom mic, with a line producer, and he's just like, no, I'm counting sheep. What do you think?
Come, let Zoltar tell you more.
I'm gonna the next pitch ball right past the flag.
We're gonna win the game, I guarantee it.
Well.
Yeah.
It looks like, maybe I mean definitely, last night Clarissa Ward posted on her ex, we can confirm the real identity of the man from our story last Wednesday as Salama Muhammad Salama.
Fun name. Yeah, Salama, Salama.
It's not very creative.
It's hard to say fast, especially if he's chucking wood. So, to get an idea.
How much salad with Salama salad?
See, you can't even say it. It's so hard. How much Salama Muhammad Salama? I can't do it. Locals, he was involved in theft, extortion, coercion, trying to force residents to become informants. Also, torture on behalf of the Assad regime.
Yeah, and it looks like he was trying to rehab his image.
Yes.
He was basically, he was trying to say, no, they forced me to do it. You know, they put me, I was a prisoner too. They goddamn free. You know, like that didn't work, buddy.
Yes, I was a prisoner. Well, how many people did you torture? Give or take, a lot.
Explains why his cell was locked from the inside.
Yeah, exactly.
We got to shoot it off because the key is in his throat.
Couldn't you tell by the claw marks on the wall that this guy was maybe up to no good? And so she's trying to say, like, I didn't know. Well, here's the thing. Maybe she knew, maybe she didn't know. Maybe. But of course, it was completely prefab. It was fake. And again, this lady has a vested interest in taking out the Assad. I think it's really clear, right? Assad, the regime, bad. What's coming could be worse. I don't think this is a controversial position because some people are like, well, Assad was the only one protecting Christians. Well, and then just killed a bunch of them, and I believe it was in Lebanon. Yeah. Like, okay, it's been bad. Assad is bad. And the replacement could be worse. But that's the rule of that whole area of the world. It's halal.
Everything's halal over there.
And before we go any further talking about the school shooting there in Madison and a lot of misinformation, Tim, you ready? Feeling good?
Yeah, I think so.
On the ball?
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Well, I don't want a repeat of last week.
Yeah.
And as you can see here in this next one, we have Toolman. Roll the clip, Tim.
I think it's nuts.
Yeah.
No, it's this one.
Wait, Tim, what's going on? You seem a little off today.
I don't know. I woke up late and I rushed in here. I'm just trying to get my bearings. Fuck! 1 second.
Okay.
Tim, what is this?
Yeah, what is?
That's not it.
I don't know. What the?
I don't. What is? Hey, what? Guys, let's just come on. We're not each other's enemy. Tim, did you not have your coffee today? What's going on with
I got an energy drink at the gas station. I guess it was caffeine-free.
Why would you get a caffeine-free energy drink? Doesn't even make sense.
Because it was probably made in China like everything else.
All right. It's not gonna help with anything. Let's have some 1775 coffee. We have a pot here. I think
please do it.
You have a mug right there. Yeah. Good.
No pissed in this, right?
No, just
I feel better.
I'm hearing it. All right.
Okay.
Sorry about that, guys. Not me without the without having my coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
What was the clip you wanted me to play again?
Doesn't matter. I'm done with this segment, but 1775 coffee is good. So there's that.
The fuck?
That was
there you
fun,
go.
right?
Yeah. I'm glad that you're in better spirits.
Yeah.
Revolt against crappy coffee. 1775coffee.com/Crowder. Use the code Crowder for 10% off. It's fresh roasted, delivered straight to you. It's great coffee at actually a much more affordable price than a lot of the competitors. And you know what? They have the balls to sponsor this show and a lot of people on Rumble.
Yeah.
So 1775coffee.com/Crowder. Try it. Comment below. I love their peaberry blend there. I haven't had one better for a daily drinker as far as coffee. And I'm glad you're back with us, Toolman.
Yeah, it's good.
Let's go on here to the Wisconsin-Madison shooting.
Yeah.
It's always terrible when you have to discuss another one of these. And I hate the fact that you need to discuss things like gun control or people feel that it's politicized. Unfortunately, it's politicized before the bodies are even cold, right? That's what happens in today's world. So you have to push back against it. When only one side decides to politicize it and we remain silent, well, guess what? Then you end up with things like the assault weapons ban that we saw in the 90s and had no effect whatsoever. You end up with losing your rights. More importantly, this intimidation of bullying people into silence, this culture that we have. And it happens very often. It used to be more effective from the left on school shootings, anytime there was a mass shooting or an act of violence. We didn't see this, by the way, when we were dealing with the murder of the United Healthcare CEO.
No calls there.
No calls there. But we see it now. They want Second Amendment advocates, gun owners, to be bullied into silence. And here's the thing. Not only should you not be bullied into silence, you do have the moral high ground. Because the defensive uses of firearms every year that take place in this country, not to mention the statistics on the law-abiding nature, the single most law-abiding, productive demographic of citizens that we know are gun owners, concealed carry permit holders, more so than off-duty officers, to be clear. You actually have the moral high ground because you, even if you never actually have to engage, are the potential hero of your community. You are not a criminal, and you know it. And I want you to remember that so that you're not intimidated. And something else, too, is when the left decides that certain shootings you won't know about and certain shootings you will know about, the agenda is dangerous, not because I just disagree with it, the gun control agenda, but because you see, for example, with Nashville, that was really kind of a crescendo after a groundswell that we have seen from the rhetoric of transgenocide, of mental health being an epidemic with young people, especially after COVID. They didn't want you to be aware of that. They want you to think white male is the mass shooter. White supremacy is our problem. That's our greatest domestic terror threat, as opposed to potentially down the line, what we could see as a massive threat to this country and Western civilization. People with no moral compass whatsoever. And if you remember Mug Club Undercover, they were the ones to uncover the first pages of the very much hidden Nashville Shooters Manifesto. We have for you today, exclusively here on Louder with Crowder, courtesy of Mug Club, first look at part of the handwritten manifesto of the Nashville shooter. Dark Abyss, Death Day, March 27th, 2023. Today is the day, yes. The day has finally come. I can't believe it's here. Don't know how I was able to get this far, but here I am. I'm a little nervous, but excited too. Been excited for these past 2 weeks. There were several times I could have been caught, especially back in the summer of 2021. None of that matters now. I'm almost an hour plus 7 minutes away. Can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm ready. I hope my victims aren't. My only fear is if anything goes wrong, I'll do my best to prevent any of the sort. God, let my wrath take over my anxiety. It might be 10 minutes tops. It might be 3 to 7. It's gonna go quick. I hope I have a high death count. Ready to die. Ha ha. Signed, Aiden. And of course, we found out that the motive there seemed to be in large part wanting to kill traditional Western Christian conservatives, patriarchy, all of that. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of misinformation going around right now. And I will say this. The good news is that on X, it was able to be refuted pretty quickly. And that's why there's value in allowing more voices, because you crowdsource intelligence as opposed to having one person from the top down determining what is and what is not permissible to say. Because then you end up with COVID, the Hunter Biden laptop story.
Yeah.
But it is a double-edged sword. There's been a lot of misinformation on both the left and the right regarding the shooting that had taken place yesterday in Madison, Wisconsin, at Abundant Life, a Christian school. And here, just to kind of, we have a clip, is the photo negative of the Six Flags guy.
Today, around 10:57 a.m., our officers were responding to a call of an active shooter at the Abundant Life Christian School here in Madison. When officers arrived, they found multiple victims suffering from gunshot wounds. Officers located a juvenile who they believe was responsible for this, deceased in the building. Additionally, the officers began administering life-saving efforts to anyone who was wounded and making sure that those persons were transported. What we know is that a total of about 7 persons were transported from this scene to area hospitals for treatment. We know that at least 3 people have lost their lives, including a juvenile person.
And, before we move on, it's just watching that clip, you see people basically with iPhones filming this. I remember when Andrew Breitbart would break stories back in the day, and you'd have journalists say, and this is the thing, it's just some guy some people with a cell phone, whether it's James O'Keefe or Andrew Breitbart. These aren't real journalists, and that's what we had to deal with the Nashville Manifesto. These people aren't real journalists. They're using the same, it just takes a few years' time when they adopt the technology. So you are a journalist, to be clear. You are someone who can you get to the truth? Do you have a thirst for the truth? Guess what? You can be a journalist. Okay, you don't need to go to school for it. Mm-hmm. As far as what we know right now, 2 people have been killed. 1 student, teenager, 1 teacher, 6 others were shot, taken to the hospital. 2 seem to, at the moment of this broadcast, remain in critical condition. Lot of myths out there, misinformation. Yeah. So all references available, link in the description. And comment below if you believed any of this, because I had some people send me notes where they believed some of these myths that were out there, largely from the right. Here's the first myth that we need to debunk, and we'll give you all the references, is that this shooter right now is a trans individual. This took over X, the internet, within minutes of the shooting. And the reality matters here. The truth does matter because, yes, there has been a disproportionate amount of violence coming from the trans community. And we were the ones who broke the Nashville Manifesto and the motive therein, or portions of it. But right now, this shooter was a 15-year-old girl, a student at this school, transferred into this school, I believe this last year, as a girl, and uses a pseudonym online, which is also feminine. There is no evidence that this person is a transgender individual. I just want to be clear about that because the truth does matter, and you don't want to be treated as someone who is illegitimate and have your credibility blown because you decided to go along with a lie because some other people before you wanted some clicks.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, shout out to Andy No for getting the correct information.
Yes, he did.
There. I think he was the first, among the first, if not the actual very first.
Yes.
To get it out there. So it's good to get the right information out.
Thank you, Andy.
She looks like crazy Emma Watson.
Yes, she does.
Hermione Danger.
So does Emma Watson. She's looking increasingly
a little bit,
crazy Emma Watson. But thank you, Andy. Sorry, Antifa punched you in the face. You didn't deserve that. That sucked.
Milkshake. That was
terrible. Guys out there laying it on the line. And of course, the left hates him. Here's another myth that you see. So this one comes from the left, is that this shooter actually not only wasn't trans, this shooter was MAGA. So this is a popular anti-Trump account. Art Candy posted this, over 1 million views, saying, oh, the school shooter was a 17-year-old female racist. This tracks. Another vile MAGA. Did the parents give her a gun this time too? And this is what the left does, right? They say, oh, fascism is an ideology of the right. That's not true. They say, oh, racism is inherently MAGA. That's not true. Several false premises that are being used here, to be clear. Here's the reality, the truth. The shooter definitely not MAGA. Not trans, definitely not MAGA.
Yeah.
Here's a Discord message that the shooter reportedly had written, and it's basically a radical feminist. Some people call these women femcels. It's women who actively hate men. So this comes from the shooter. It says, women are the only hope for this wretched world. I realize the truth. Men are irredeemable. Radfem Hitler is fucking vindicated now. They can't be redeemed, meaning men. They're a effing scourge upon the earth. The only solution is to total exterminate them and every foid who worships these effing parasites. To be clear, grammar spelling, not her strong suit.
Yeah, needed that. Some of the more schooling.
Yes, I would think so too. But Radfem Hitler is an anime Nazi X account that hates men. And just to be clear, I don't think that account needs to be removed. I don't want to be one of those people on the right, the Tipper Gore equivalent on the right. A lot of people don't remember Tipper Gore for the video game ratings, saying, "Oh, this person posts some ideology that radicalized someone. Oh, this person posts some memes, posts about their ideology, and this shooter took it, used it, warped it." I just want to be really, really clear about that. We also do have what appears to be the shooter's manifesto. It comes from the X account Slatzism, I think, from the shooter's boyfriend. Now, here's the thing. Apparently, the shooter posted this manifesto on Google Docs, but forgot to set it to public because there's nothing like perpetuating the original stereotype of an undisciplined, undetail-oriented young lady.
Retard alert!
Tell the world! Missed a step. You left it private. I guess no one will hear whatever the bullshit you're spewing.
That would be important.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah. You would think so. Don't tell me what to do, you parasite man. I'm just telling you, you gotta set it to public. Oh, really? Patriarchy. Fine. All right, just go. So, in this reported manifesto, this shooter obviously seems like the outcast type. Like, we don't have a very clear ideology. Pretty in line with what we often see. Someone who's been isolated. She complains about bullying, neglectful parents, an alcoholic father, obvious disdain for organized religion, overall hatred for humanity, also some admiration for some obscure European school shooters. Yeah. I know some of you are confused. Yeah, they have those in Europe too. I know you think that's a uniquely American thing. It's not.
They said that we don't, though. They said that this is the only country.
They said this is the only country. I come from Montreal, where we had 3. Just to be clear, like we almost invented the mass shooting when you look at École Polytechnique. She also took a selfie wearing a band T-shirt of KMFDM as looking like it's an homage to the Columbine killer. So this seems to be someone who is obviously not trans individual, obviously not MAGA, hates men. Young woman who hates men. And that seems to be the motive at this point in time, unless anyone thinks.
Frustrated at parents, hates men, dad's an alcoholic. Like, there's some stuff there,
which may or may not be true. By the way.
But that's what's being said right now, right? So I don't want to, say that that's absolutely true right now. But none of that ideology, like, you can't look at any of that list and go MAGA. And people immediately ran to trans guys. Come on.
Looked like there was some suicidal stuff in there too.
Yeah.
It was like, I want to commit suicide. I want to take out as many as I can before I go.
Yeah.
And who's this boyfriend? I mean, is that an accessory to murder, or what? Like, what's?
Well, people are telling me. I think that the boyfriend only received this after the act had been committed. Yeah. As far as what I understand, but again, I'm sure there will be an investigation.
Is it an ex-boyfriend? Is it a real boyfriend? She hated men, so why was she dating somebody? Like, there's still a lot of unanswered questions on that side of it for me. So,
and if more of the political ideology is peeled back, more layers are peeled off, and it doesn't suit the left's narrative, you won't hear about it. Just like Vegas, just like Nashville, it will require crowdsourcing the intelligence.
See you, Jared.
The investigation. That's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. That's why you don't trust your institutions, and rightfully so. If the shooting fits the narrative, you will hear about it everywhere. If it doesn't, they'll have some gun control stuff that they'll talk about for a while, and then it'll kind of fade, and they'll wait for the next one.
Yeah, they're already not covering it on CNN.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So that tells you the way that it's probably going. That's a pretty good indicator as to the motive, or it's a good indicator as to there not being the white supremacist motive. Because
they had it on earlier a little bit, so we'll see how long it stays in the news cycle.
Well, here's another myth that you are seeing right now is this was on X. I think you have the overlay, and it's been circulated again. This shooting. There's a list, and it says all AR-15s, right? And some people then falsely added this current Madison shooting to it. Here's the truth. The reality, the shooter used a handgun.
Anna, what other additional information do we know about what happened?
Well, we've just learned that the suspect likely used a 9mm pistol, that was the weapon that was used.
And just to be clear, we'll get through some of the biggest gun myths, but in 2016, handguns killed about 19 times the amount of people as all rifles put together. When it comes to mass shootings, handguns are used 80% of the time. So just understand that this is going to be used there.
Yeah.
This is something that you are going to hear from the left. Look, let me give you 3 key facts here. And over Christmas, over the break, or Hanukkah, or whatever it is, Ramadan, I don't know if that's right now.
No.
Kwanzaa's not real.
No, it's real.
Kwanzaa's not real.
Maybe go and subscribe to wherever you get your audio podcast, 3 and 3. We did one on gun control. Okay. We did one before, and it's important to note that there are a few key facts. You know what? Let me deliver it here at the end, but it's basically where mass shootings take place, the kinds of guns used, and the defensive uses of firearms every single year. Okay, we'll get through all those facts. It's about 500,000 to 3 million every single year. Defensive uses of firearms.
Yeah.
Okay. Handguns are used in 80% of mass shootings, and we cover all of that in that 3 and 3, specifically on gun violence. Here's another myth that you're going to hear from the left right now. They pivot right away to, we need, this could have been stopped by gun control, so we need new forms of gun control now. Former Vice President Biden released this statement, my administration has taken aggressive action to combat the gun violence epidemic, not with his son.
No.
We passed the most significant gun safety legislation in nearly 30 years, but more is needed. Congress must pass common sense gun safety laws, universal background checks, a national red flag law, ban on assault weapons, and high-capacity magazines. Okay, a couple of things. There are universal background checks. National red flag law is really one of those laws where you can report your neighbors because they take a Xanax. Ban on assault weapons. They tried it. It didn't work. It's entirely subjective. For example, this is not an assault weapon. Pistol grip makes it an assault weapon. It's stupid. It's just designed to limit your ability to own firearms. High-capacity magazines, well, they've done that in states like California. Hasn't worked. Hasn't worked. Also note there was no call for gun control after the shooting of the CEO.
I couldn't believe that, by the way, with everything that was set up there. It was in New York. What people
were a city where handguns are illegal.
Guns or printing. Yeah, exactly. Like it had a silencer on it. I know they hate silencers. Like everything lined up for them to call for that.
Well, not really, because it does show that their gun laws didn't friggin' work.
No, that's true. I mean, I would say that they
no handguns. Well, here's one.
It has to be more strict. We have to just get rid of them altogether. But listen, I swore internally just a minute ago when I was reading Biden's text. Every single time that this happens, the left comes out with the same thing. We need to do stuff, and then they make a list of things that would not effing change a thing. Every single time. More control, more control, more control. That's what we want. And things that are listed are things that would not have changed this at all. Not one bit.
Yep.
I'm tired of that crap. When the right says thoughts and prayers, they mean it. They mean they're praying like I was on the way to frickin' work today for the families that don't have a kid showing up at Christmas this year.
Yep.
That's what we mean by that. When you send this out, it's like, I want to look like I'm a part of the team, that I hate guns too, just like all of you. And I want to recommend things that aren't going to change anything in American society. And I'm going to do it every single time.
Yeah.
Because I want votes.
And it's designed to vilify you. All you offer is thoughts and prayers. Well, all you offer is to disarm a citizenry and put them at greater risk of gun violence.
I'm not going to stop praying. So
yeah, is it prayer shaming now? Is that a thing? Prayer shaming? Yeah. Prayer shaming? Oh, it's useless. Really? Okay. What are you doing? Oh, calling for gun control. Okay, that's right. And by the way, none of those things would have stopped this shooting. According to the manifesto of this shooter, this person duped her father into getting the guns. Says, nobody knows I'm doing this. I got the weapons by lies and manipulation and my father's stupidity. And again, that's a reflection of an ideology, which we see with radical feminists. Yeah. The ends justify the means. Your skill is lying and manipulating. But if you say that women are often more manipulative than men because that's how they can get things done through ulterior motives, to be clear, like men can get it done through violence, which is also wrong. Women often have to get these things done if they have motives that are less than pure. They have to use manipulation. They have to use lies. And she believes that her father is stupid because all men are stupid.
And her dad was, I heard, drunk.
That's what she says.
Yeah.
That's what she says. But she also could be manipulating the public right now by saying that to try and put the blame on her father, as opposed to the fact that she was radicalized by a bunch of other feminists who hate men out there. This is a reflection of what you are seeing in the dating sphere right now. You know, there's the red pill sphere, the manosphere, and then there's the feminists. And I don't know that it's reparable. I really don't. You're just going to see more and more young men checking out of the dating pool and not marrying, and you're going to see more and more women getting into their mid and late 30s with their biological window closing, wondering where all the good men went to. And that's what you're seeing here. You're seeing a woman who hates men. If a man were to carry out a mass shooting right now, a white male, it would be all about white males, vilifying white males. When a girl does this, they first try to vilify her as influenced by white male MAGA ideology. Also, by the way, lifting weights is white male patriarchy, as we've heard. So is the nuclear family, according to Black Lives Matter. And when that doesn't work, then it becomes, oh, how did we fail this young woman? If you're a man, you're vilified. If you're a young woman, you're misunderstood. And you can't have one side, just like we talked about with Phillips. What was her name? Lily Phillips. Mm-hmm. People are asking for the jailing of the men who are answering a casting call. Well, hold on a second. There needs to be accountability on both sides. That's where we need to have accountability right here. And this is a woman who hates men, who wants to blame men and believes that they are justified in manipulating and lying to men. Why? Because all men bad. And that's misandry of the highest order. We should be discussing that. You do have an entire generation of people, especially in public schools, who have been raised to hate an entire demographic of people. And I'm not saying it's the plight of the white male. That's not what I'm saying, but here's the good news for a lot of white males out there. They can just check out. They don't need to date. They don't need to get married. You know what else they don't? They don't need to open doors. They don't need to be gentlemanly. They don't need to protect their fellow citizen. They don't need to lay their lives on the line for women who are not worth dying for. And you're going to see more of that. Is that the society that you want to live in? Because I tell you what, you need those guys. You need everyone. Only one group is saying we need some people and not other people. That's the left saying we need this oppressed class, but this class needs to admit their privilege and guilt and apologize. I'm saying we need everyone. We need white women. We need white men. We need black women, black men. We need Latino women, Latino men. We need Asian women. We need everybody. We're not excluding one demographic. This is a manifestation of someone who has been not only justified, but coached into vilifying one demographic. And that's a problem. That's a problem. Do you have any proof that white men are actually being conditioned into hating, meaning in college, in high school, through media? We're white guys here. I know it's not lost on me, just a bunch of white guys with an opinion. I don't know if you know this, but most guys in this country are white. Give me an example where we would be conditioned through our institutions to hate a group of people or to justify mistreatment of them. I'm not talking about individual sects or neo-Nazis or the Westboro Baptist Church where there's 12 members, including like 6 with flippers. I'm talking about actually institutionalized discrimination. Where's the white male equivalent of affirmative action? And let me give you some statistics. You already heard me on the one before. When we're talking about these shootings, and this is where you can go and listen to the 3 and 3 podcast. It's designed to give you 3 key facts on any topic that is referenced, so you can get it in 3 minutes or less. Okay? 94% of all mass shootings since 1950 have occurred in gun-free zones. All right? So if you think the gun laws work, 94% of mass shootings have taken place in, first off, all zones, to be clear, are mass shooting-free zones, at least supposed to be.
Supposed to be, yes.
But these are actually gun-free zones.
Almost seems like causation.
80% of these mass shootings are carried out with handguns, not with AR-15s. And according to every stat we have available to us, there are over, when people say if it saves one life, well, over 500,000 to 3 million defensive uses of firearms every single year. Yep. And I would bet disproportionately used by women or the disabled, people who need a mechanical advantage over marauding monsters. Those are 3 key facts. 94% gun-free zones, 80% handguns, not rifles, 16 times or 19 times more damage inflicted, deaths at the hands of handguns than at rifles. And what was the last one?
Defensive uses.
Defensive uses, 500,000 to 3 million. Yep. Well, if it saves one life, well, it saves 500,000 to 3 million every year. Why don't you care about those people?
Yeah.
So we're going to be obviously staying on top of this. Again, what's sad is it'll go away if the shooter isn't of the right ideological motive, and that's why you don't trust your institutions, and I don't blame you one bit.
It sucks because we got to study this stuff.
Yeah. Well, and
there's a scientific link to things, and we need to know.
Yeah.
Even if it's the opposite way, even if it's just straight white guys are the ones who do it. Well, let's see the science about it. Let's see if we can prevent this.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Also, by the way, in case, you wanted to say something?
I wanted to talk about this Discord thing because this is something that is incredibly important that came up. There was a reference to Discord with this person. This is, by the way, just remember we covered Chippewa Falls where there was a potential shooter. Second potential shooter when we were going through the process. We had a lot of conversations behind the scenes with information that didn't necessarily all come out because we were looking into it. But this set off alarm bells for me. This is 150 miles plus or minus from Chippewa Falls. Mm-hmm. Okay, so very close. There's a possibility of a social epidemic kind of brewing in Wisconsin right now. And Discord was a common thread that I saw where people are being radicalized on Discord. Now, I'm not saying Discord is any worse than maybe any of the other sites out there. What I'm saying right now is that if you are a parent that has a child on Discord, you must absolutely 100% know what is going on. That's all social media as well. But right now, there is a very specific threat on Discord. We talked about the shooters being in a Discord channel that was kind of venerating the Columbine shooters and promoting kind of these school shootings and kind of making hype videos and all of these different things that were going on right now. And there is somebody right now radicalizing people, radicalizing young kids. We're talking about somebody who was in middle school. Right up in Chippewa Falls. This is not some high schooler that has done some research. This is somebody who was not even close to being alive when these people did this at Columbine, right? So parents out there, make sure that you understand what is happening, especially if you're a Wisconsin parent right now. Find out if your kids are on Discord. If they are, make sure that you know what's going on because they're being radicalized by somebody who is venerating these kinds of.
And I will take it one step further. I will say that, Discord is an environment that is more conducive to radicalizing. Let me tell you why. You know which fan-created Discord was removed? This one.
Yeah.
Same thing on Reddit. So on Reddit, fans, and by the way, you can go and check the Discord of for this show of the Mug Club people, and same thing on Reddit. It was overwhelmingly friendly. It's not going to radicalize anybody. In other words, Discord said that this very segment right here, this kind of content is impermissible. If that is not allowed on your platform, but the kinds of dialogue that you see here, and we saw in Chippewa Falls are, do you think it creates a more dangerous echo chamber? Go to Reddit politics and just look at the gleeful celebration in the murder of the CEO in United Healthcare. Just look at the hatred that you see. And so, when they say this right here, what you are seeing right here, basic bitch, pumpkin spice, Christian conservatives, that this is radicalizing and it is removed, you now have created a silo where people can hear radical feminism, where people can hear radical gender ideology, where people can hear radical gun control advocacy, where people can hear radical socialism, Marxism, but can't hear this? You know what? We don't have the data to support it. I'm just giving you the anecdote, but I know a lot of conservatives out there who have either been removed from Discord, certainly on Reddit, and entire channels have been taken off of their server. What kind of an environment do you think you're going to create? And then you have the New York Times, I believe, where they write, they wrote an entire article, the radicalization that takes place on YouTube. And they had an image of Philip DeFranco. Jeez. You may disagree with but you think that anything we say here is going to radicalize people into shooting their fellow American? Might radicalize people into protecting their family and their fellow American from those willing to do violence. This is not allowed in places like Discord. This is not allowed, by the way. Also, expand it. This young girl is, and it's advertiser friendly. And then they want to bitch about you being in an echo chamber. They want to ban Rumble. To be clear, we just got to. I don't know if I can talk about a tip as it relates to Rumble, but I'll need to. We have something going on there that comes straight from the government. And by the way, this is like you just mentioned this other shooter in Chippewa Falls, right? This shooter in Chippewa Falls also showed admiration for the Columbine shooters. And keep in mind, in Chippewa Falls, the real problem, the reason we were exposing this, is there were still active threats potentially. And parents had to pull their child from school because nothing was done.
Discord is useful.
So the obfuscation,
anything can be used that way.
Right? The lack of transparency is what makes parents concerned. What do you think is more concerning, this show, or take Rush Limbaugh, Fox News, for crying out loud? Take Mike Lindell of My Perfect Pillow. You think that's more of a concern than school boards actively hiding information from parents? Because that's the system, and I mean our public education system that exists, and why people are going to homeschooling in record numbers. We have a clip of that Chippewa Falls story. This person continues on with a new paragraph titled Thoughts. It explains how they hate girls who objectify themselves. Redacted writes about how they are taking inspiration from the Columbine shooting. This will be the next Columbine. I will kill the most people I can by using explosives that I will make myself. All the problems that I face will be worth it after I kill all the fucking jocks and all those fucking preppy headed fucking girls who need to die, and they will go burn in hell. On the next page, this person talks about they are searching for the Dylan to their Eric, and again, who they are targeting.
Rata.
You did a great job when you went and you spoke to the parents there.
Well, no, I appreciate it. It was a big, heavy story.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah, this is.
Maybe it's a perfect time for you guys to see my latest screen test. Kind of lighten the mood.
No, okay. We could use a little levity for what?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a prequel from American History X. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Hey, Josh, how you doing today?
I'm Josh.
I know, that's why. Okay, you know who you're reading for?
Yes, I am reading for the lead role in the prequel to American History X.
What movie?
American History X.
Why are you saying it like that?
Because I speak English. We speak English in this country, okay, pal? It's American history.
All right, just go whenever you're ready.
Okay. Can you count me in?
Sure. 3, 2. Wait. Why are you wearing a Tesla shirt and a MAGA hat and a blit? Oh, you're Elon Musk. Okay.
Yeah, from X. American History X.
Please go.
No, you go. I just bought the studio, and you're fired.
No, you didn't. No, I'm not. Leave.
No, it's
Get out.
Because Elon Musk is the character.
Go.
Doge to the moon.
It's an easy mistake to make. I understand why you.
I don't think it was a mistake.
No, just keep swinging the bat. Keep swinging the bat.
I don't know. Maybe not.
No. I think you should keep swinging the bat.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I don't know. Maybe not. By the way, if you see fraud, waste, abuse, corruption, keep in mind Nashville, Chippewa Falls, the Jay Varma story, the COVID architect, the DOJ story. A lot of those came from you working with Mug Club Undercover. Send us a tip. lwctips@protonmail.com. We have a team of people who will chase down every lead, and we are willing to go to jail to protect our sources. Hey, maybe it can help prevent another shooting. You don't know if you help prevent a shooting at Chippewa Falls.
Yeah.
You really don't. And I hope we never do, because I hope it never happens. But
yeah, exactly.
If this is one thing, we work in this. I was just talking with someone about this morning. Look, this is a business. Of course, everyone here deserves to be able to make a living. But it's not just business. If it was just business, it wouldn't make sense to invest the millions upon millions that we do in investigative journalism every year to keep ourselves covered legally, to make sure that we can do this. And we can't do it without you. And if it was just business, we wouldn't do the Christmas special that we do every year, where we try and give back and help communities so you can see where your dollar is going. It doesn't happen without your membership. Mug Club is Rumble Premium. Rumble Premium is Mug Club. You can now join louderwithcarter.com/Mug Club, or click that button right there. It's a great Christmas gift. You can gift it, and now you get the promotional mug that is co-branded as a feature on the track. Rumble and Louder with Crowder mug. You get this, you get Nick DiPaolo, you get Guns and Gear, you get Dr. Disrespect, you get so much content that is being added to Rumble Premium, and it's ad-free. And of course, Mug Club Undercover, everything you see is actually funded by viewers like you. And viewers like you have some questions right now. And a lot of people are saying, hey, we're considering maybe moving to homeschooling. And I would say it's a good idea. Now, you see this debate take place a lot, and the debate is almost entirely takes place on either one or two, let's say one false premise, but we'll add in two. As far as people think kids can't be socialized, as far as people think they'll be functionally retarded because they're not out amongst their peers. When you look at the state of public school, and not just the violence today, but you look at the state of social engineering and conditioning that is taking place, I think it's something you definitely need to consider. And if you think the roadblock is you can't afford it, or if you think the roadblock is you are not qualified, we're going to go through this today because it has been something that's been on my heart. I know a lot of people here. Some of us have, some people here have been homeschooled. Some people here do homeschooled. If you can do it, and many of you are more capable of doing it than you realize, it can be a beautiful thing. And it is a great leg up that you can provide to your children. So homeschooling, because of COVID, has been on the rise. And even since COVID, people realized, wait a second, we can actually do this, and it's been continuing to be on the rise. That was poor grammar. No, I guess that works. COVID was on the rise, and that rise, that incline continues. Here's some kind of report about it.
If you homeschooled your children during the pandemic,
She's
you certainly
cute.
weren't alone.
Oh, yeah.
There was a massive explosion of homeschooling during that time. But with the pandemic over, many thought this boom would fizzle. And in states like Colorado, that was in fact the case. However, a new study found that 90% of states that report homeschooling enrollment found increases for the 2023 to 2024 academic year.
So spared no expense.
3.1 million children in the United States are homeschooled, about 6% of children in the United States. I'm going to make the case here, if that number were to get to 20, 25, 30%, our country would be far better off.
Yep.
Okay. By every metric we have available to us through the metadata, we have a lot of studies, homeschooling is better than public schools. So let's go through some of the claims and some of the myths for those out there who are considering it. Here's a claim that you hear a lot, and it's to create a barrier to entry. Only the wealthy can. Well, that's great if you're wealthy and you have the ability, but most people can't afford homeschooling. Here's the truth: homeschooling is not only more affordable than you think; it's in many cases more affordable than even the basic cost attributed to public school. The annual average cost for homeschooling is $500 to $2,500 if you want to, use some of the premium services out there. There's a lot. The good thing about homeschooling is you can customize it. Hey, education. You can tailor it to your child. So $500 per year for a child. I mean, that's the books you're dealing with in school, let alone all the other supplies.
Yeah.
So you're talking about for homeschooling, this cost would be like books, curriculum supplies, field trips, tutoring, activity fees, online courses, AP exams. And to be clear, so that's not very expensive. Most homeschool families are at or are below the median income level. So 61% of homeschooling families earn less than $75,000 a year in the household.
Wow. It is surprising.
The median income of American families is $80,000 right now.
And that's probably one income families then, right?
Yeah.
One parent staying home.
And by the way, 52% of homeschooling takes place with only one parent in the labor force. So if you're thinking you have to be a dink, dual income, we have to make this. No, it does come down to priorities. It means there will be some sacrifices, but is it worth it? This is a time where people can maybe put their money where their mouth is. Is it worth it? Hey, are you making more than $75,000 a year? Are you making more than $80,000? You absolutely can homeschool. Most people who homeschool make less than that. Those are the numbers.
That's insanely affordable too. I didn't realize it was $500 to $2,500. Even at the top end, $2,500. You're like a couple $100 a month.
Yeah.
It's definitely a lot less than private school.
And you know what else too? You don't.
Yes, for sure.
Yes, and you don't. By the way, you don't have to be only a one-income household, because here's another truth: homeschooling takes a lot less time than you think.
Yeah.
Nowadays people bemoan the gig economy. Hey, isn't it great that you could, do Uber or work a part-time job that allows you the flexibility to homeschool? So you can do both. So to give you an idea, the average public school day in this country is at least 6 hours. Many places it's 8 hours.
Yeah, I was about to say that sounds low.
It does sound low. When I went to school, it was in Canada. I mean, we went to school when it was dark and we got home when it was dark.
Mine was about 7.5 hours. I think I got there when it was 8 and left about 3:30 with the last bell, if I wasn't in sports.
Ours was from 9 to 4:30, but our recess was under 10 minutes. And our time between classes was 2 minutes.
Well, but
it was 7 minutes, our recess.
Your
We did
recess,
7 minutes.
it was like 4 degrees below zero outside, so you don't do much recess.
Our recess at Centennial, where I went, was just long enough to give you a panic attack if you had to make it to the other wing of school.
Or you had to take a dump.
Yeah, and there was traffic, and you had some crazy Latvian IT professor who would give you an after. If you didn't walk into class before the bell started, I argued with him and went to the office. I got out of my after school. I said, no, the bell wasn't over, because it was boo, 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 boo. Boo, boo, boo. I said, so look, that last
bell.
tone. Yeah.
It is a weird bell.
What is this Canadian bell stuff?
It's real. It's really absurd.
It is really weird. It's
I
8
could be
hours.
misremembering it.
8 hours for my kid. 7 to 3 is when they leave and come back.
Yeah,
okay.
8 hours.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
travel.
6 seems pretty low. Let's call it 6 to 8 hours. Homeschool hours, I mean, they vary by age. Again, you're tailoring it to children. I don't know if you know this. Young children have shorter attention spans.
No.
So pre-K kids in homeschooling can be 20 to 60 minutes. Right? 20 minutes to an hour. Kindergarten can be 30 minutes to an hour and a half. First grade through the 8th grade, you're looking at 45 minutes, and then you gradually increase to about 3 hours. The 9th grade through the 12th grade, 2 hours to 4.5 hours. And here's something that's really important too. Pretty much every study that we have available to us, all references available, link in the description, especially if you are a parent, this one's really important. It shows that kids don't do well in learning environments beyond 3 or 4 hours, right? 5 to 8 years old, their attention spans are 12 to 24 minutes. 9 to 11-year-olds, 20 to 30 minutes. And even if you go all the way up to 15 to 18-year-olds, as far as, think of it as a sprint, right? Learning something new is a sprint. It's not a marathon, right? So
Okay, now we're live, right? Now, all right, now we're live, right? Okay, I figured it out.
Everything's been screwed up today.
That's hilarious. Enable. Now it's working. Okay. So, all right. Thank you guys for that. So here's the deal. So YouTube, let me catch you guys up. We're trying some new software. It's called Riverside. Okay. Normally I've been using Streamlabs for those of you who understand or are interested at all. Normally we use StreamYard to live stream. Now we're switching over to Riverside, and I'm learning how to do this. So it does not automatically auto start, which is interesting because I can see myself. It looks like I'm live streaming and I can see the chat, but you guys don't have it. So now I know. Now I know. All right. You didn't miss much. Okay. We're just bumbling around. Dude, how does this work? So apologies on that. You didn't miss anything. But now it's working. Okay. So it doesn't have auto start. Now I know that. So now I got to go click over and just click start. Easy peasy. But Riverside gives us some cool functionality. So should be higher quality recordings. We should have the capability to do things like take calls, interviews. Should be much easier, much higher quality recording. So you can do some cool stuff with interviews. And it's got some AI functionality, like it'll help with automatic show notes and stuff like that. Like it'll just create some show notes for us. So that'll be really cool. So some good stuff. Anyways, hopefully it's working. We're testing everything out.
Let's save this link.
Coming in loud and clear. No auto start, I know. I can change that, though. I think that's a setting that I can change. But now I know. All right, so my friends, we got a bunch of business. As I mentioned, we've got great stuff coming up on the show later today. Judge Merchan issued a new order. We also have a new January 6th committee report that came out from Barry Loudermilk. So the show today will be extra spicy. This morning, we've also got some goodness, some spiciness happening. As you can see on C-SPAN, what we've got here is Booty is out. So Pete Buttigieg was out. There's United Nations Security Council meetings happening right now. NCAA is out. Republicans are speaking right now. So let's see what they're saying, if there's anything interesting happening here. Oh, well, this was 2 minutes. Okay, so 2 minutes here. Oh, wait, no, it was only 20 minutes or so. Let's see what Johnson said.
Having the majority is what's important, is our Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. Good morning. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah.
Merry Christmas.
This is a good time to be an
Happy
American.
Hanukkah
And I want to tell you that we've been watching with great excitement what's happening. It's 34 days until President Trump takes the oath of office, but he's already begun the power of the Trump effect. And you see what's happening at Mar-a-Lago. There's more activity there than there is on Pennsylvania Avenue because people around the world recognize that a new sheriff is in town. The leader is back. And yesterday he announced that SoftBank will be investing $100 billion over the next 4 years and creating 100,000 new American jobs. That's just one more piece of good news. Much more to come. America is already on its way to becoming great once again. And that's just because of the change of leadership. So
leadership's
we're excited
important.
for President Trump's second term. You've heard a little bit about that this morning. It officially begins in January, of course. And he has an incredible team around him. I've been visiting with the various cabinet appointees, nominees. Looking forward to meeting with Kash Patel and David Sachs this week, and have been talking with all of them along the way. I think they're all on a path for confirmation, and that's an exciting thing, an important principle for us to maintain around here. The president gets to choose his team, and we're excited for that to be resolved. To the leadership team here, these friends have done a great job in helping us to lead the conference over the last year and last 2 years, helping me for the last year plus as the speaker, and Leader Scalise and Whip Emmer and Elise Stefanik, who's our
a lot of latency right
conference chair, who should soon be serving the Trump administration in a new capacity. Our Vice Chairman Blake Moore, who's stepped in to fill the void here. An extraordinary team. They've done a great job, and I want to thank them for that. And despite all the challenges we had, we were able to secure key wins in this Congress. You heard Blake and Steve recount some of that, beginning with H.R. 1, the energy policy that we advanced, and H.R. 2 on the border. We held this disastrous administration accountable. We impeached Secretary Mayorkas. We held Merrick Garland in contempt
and then they
of court.
ignored you
we
guys.
fought to secure the border. We passed, as I noted, H.R. 2,
Which
the strongest
we appreciate.
border
I mean,
security
there's only so
legislation
much you
in
can do.
history. and legislation to stop taxpayer funds from going to sanctuary cities.
Chuck Schumer just ignored the impeachment.
Illegals who've been arrested for
Merrick Garland
committing
ignored
crimes
his
like
own contempt.
violence against women and DUIs,
Democrats,
Social Security
totally
fraud,
above
and
the law.
fleeing law enforcement. We did that. We advanced that legislation. We exposed Democrats' support for non-citizen voting, and we passed legislation that would ensure that only Americans vote in American elections. I think the attention that was paid to that had a big deterrent effect in the election cycle. I think we put people on notice that that's a violation of the law and a serious offense. And we have to get that legislation codified in the year ahead. We launched a house-wide investigation into anti-Semitism on college campuses to protect our Jewish students and hold administrators who sympathize with pro-terrorist students accountable. We passed legislation to counter our adversaries since the Biden administration refused to. We passed a CR to overturn the Biden-Harris administration's radical rewrite of Title IX that allows men to compete in women's sports. We cut funding for military DEI programs and eliminated the DEI office within Congress. We made sure that taxpayers are not going to fund transgender procedures for the children of military families. There's so much more. We know that we're just getting started, and there is so much ahead of us. We're excited about beginning the new Congress in January. We're eager for what's ahead. We have a lot to do. As we said on the campaign trail all year, and I said in this room many times, we had to fix everything. And that begins early in January.
It's a big to-do list, yeah.
Let me talk briefly about the funding of the government. The CR is coming together. Bipartisan work is ongoing. We're almost there. We worked really hard to achieve consensus on a bill that responsibly funds the government into March of next year. It'll go to March 14, and that date was chosen because it coincides with the calendars of the House and Senate, and it makes sense for us to get the appropriations done. But our aim is to do it early in the year, not wait till March, and all the appropriators and the people on the committees of jurisdiction are already working to do that. We've been working around the clock to get the CR done. It was intended to be, and it was until recent days, a very simple, very clean CR, stopgap funding measure to get us into next year when we have unified government under the Republican
But what
Party.
about Elon and Doge?
But a
Let's
couple
have
of
them come
intervening
take a
things
look.
have occurred. We had, as we say, as we describe them, acts of God. We had these massive hurricanes, as you know, in the late fall, Helene and Milton and other disasters. We have to make sure that the Americans that were devastated by these hurricanes get the relief they need. So we are adding to this a disaster relief package, and that's critically important. Also important is the devastation that is being faced by our farming community. The agriculture sector has really struggled. They've had effectively 3 lost years, and commodity prices are a bit of a mess, and you've got input costs that are skyrocketed because of Bidenomics. You put all those factors together, droughts and all the other conditions, and you have a lot of small family farms and ranches and people who supply the food for the country in dire straits right now. And so Congress recognizes that need, and so we've had to add a little bit to that as well. So what would have been a very skinny, very simple, clean CR has been added. These other pieces have been added to it, and a couple of things that are related to all that. But
always got to have that.
I'm not going to get into much more detail because it's almost done. But we do expect text today, and we are going to try. Let me answer your question in advance. We are, I believe, in the 72-hour rule. I've said that to all the House Republicans this morning. I believe we ought to try to pass this on a rule to go through regular process. We're committed to all of that. We're going to take care of these obligations and get this done. And then we're going to go to work in unified government in the 119th Congress that begins in January. Last thing I'll note today, we'll be voting on the Midnight Rules Relief Act. And we all believe in the separation of powers and that it's wrong for the executive branch to circumvent Congress's role as the lawmaker under Article 1. So with this bill, we're going to make it easier for Congress to flex that Article 1 muscle, review the litany of regulations that presidents like to issue at the end of their term. House Republicans are reining in executive overreach, and I hope this is a bipartisan effort. It should be, because it's about maintaining our role as the legislative branch, the first article of the Constitution. With that, I'll take a few questions. Chad.
Good morning. Thank you. You said back in September there would be no more Christmas omnibuses.
Yep.
You're not doing any omnibuses.
Yep.
You said it had to be added on to this bill, but how is this not yet another Christmas tree?
Yeah, it's not. It's not a Christmas tree. It's not an omnibus.
It's winter. Well, it's too
crammed down. They said garbage.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, they haven't even seen it yet. Well, I got a couple of friends who will say that about any end-of-year funding measure. This is not an omnibus, okay? This is a small CR that we've had to add things to that were out of our control. These are not
landlord.
disasters. These are things
Yeah,
that
maybe just put
the
some
federal
LED
federal
money in
government has
there.
an appropriate role to do. So I wish it weren't necessary. I wish we hadn't had record hurricanes in the fall, and I wish our farmers were not in a bind so much that creditors are not able to lend to them.
I mean,
We have to
LEDs
be able
initially are
to
cost more,
help
but
those
they're
who are
brighter
in
and
these
they
dire
last longer.
straits, and that's what the volume of the pages to this is. So it is not an omnibus. This is a CR. Again, we're not doing all the approach bills. We're doing a CR to patch us into the first quarter of next year so that we can put our fingerprints on what those final spending bills are. And we're looking forward to doing that. Yes, sir. Front row.
Can you give us a sense of how robust the help is for farmers? The American Farm Bureau says without a 5-year farm bill, without significant economic assistance, many farmers will go out of business. They won't be able to secure operating loans from their lenders. And
That doesn't sound good at all.
They need some kind of sustenance. In fact, the president of the American Farm Bureau put a figure on. He said, I asked him what would be satisfactory. He said 15, $20 billion.
Yeah.
30 billion realistically, but that's out of the question. So somewhere between 15 and 20.
Yeah, we carefully assessed it. We can't do all of it right now, but I think what you'll see reflected in this final package is of $10 billion, okay, to start that. In addition to that, the USDA moved some things around, and they've added $2 billion for specialty crops that they announced in late November. So help is on the way. And I've talked in the last 24, 48 hours to a number of the leaders in the ag community who say they are greatly relieved by that. They understand it's not everything, but it is something to bridge that gap and allow the lenders and the creditors to help those who are preparing to put the crops, plant the crops in the spring.
The government has
timeline,
meddled
the sequence
so
of events
much
is
in
important, and we
farming
think
and
we're giving them
agriculture. It's
a
hard to
big
even
boost of
understand what's
relief
happening
at
in it.
exactly the right time
With
in the nick of time,
subsidies
frankly.
and then
So
Commerce
it's,
Clause
there's always more to
litigation
do.
and all
There's
sorts of
always more
stuff.
to do. But I think this is an important step for Congress. I think the people involved understand that, and it sends a signal to
Every
lenders
time the
and
government
creditors
gets
that
involved,
Congress will not
things
abandon
break, and
our
they
food
need more
producers,
money
right?
to just prop
Here's the
everything
thing:
up.
if you have small family farms and ranches that go out of business, so they can't make it one more year.
Why would they be
can't
going
get a
out
loan
of
to do it,
business?
they're gone. The kids move to the cities, and there is no more family farm. You might have noticed very few people start family farms. These are third,
why is
fourth,
that?
sometimes fifth generation operations. You have to have them. You have to have diversification in the food supply. You have to have producers so that we have fruits and vegetables and nuts and all the things that we need that farmers and ranchers provide to America. We cannot rely on other countries for our food supply.
Right, there we go.
The food
Thank you.
supply is directly related to national security. So all these things are being factored in. Congress is doing the very
hollowed
best it
out
can
our
under difficult
industries in favor of
circumstances, and I
foreign
think that'll be a big
countries.
boost
That's
to the
exactly
industry.
why.
Let me go.
Last question. First of all, are you confident that you can get a majority of your own conference to back this CR? And if not, are you worried that the speaker doesn't get it?
No, I'm not. Look, I'm not worried about the speaker vote. We're governing. Everybody knows we have difficult circumstances. We're doing the very best we can under those circumstances. With regard to the vote, yeah, I certainly hope and am working towards the majority of our group. One of the things I think that could be a factor in that is if we're able to push this forward through a rule, which I prefer, and allow for a pay for a lot of this, then I think that is something that's important to a lot of our members. Look, we also recognize that in the midst of providing the aid and doing the things that the federal government is responsible for doing, we also have a large national debt. We're excited about the opportunity next year of having the DOGE effort underway and for going in and authorizing programs again instead of just appropriating and getting back to the basic functions of government so that we can reduce not only the size and scope of government, but the size and scope of the national debt as well. So all these are competing interests. All of them are balanced together. These are the hard choices that lawmakers have to make. But we will get the job done as we always do. We will keep moving forward. And in January, we have a new lease on all this. So we're excited about that. Looking forward to that opportunity. Again, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah to all of you. I hope we don't see you here again before the end of the year. All right?
All right.
Thanks so much.
Mike Johnson's out there. More money for the government. And there's always some reason why they need more. Why an unexpected event, a lightning strike, God spoke, came down from a mountain or something, right? And everything exploded. So they need more money. And that's where we're at today. So speaking of our government and their incompetence, let's talk about these drones, shall we? Here's more on this. Arrests made related to drones. You can see Boston reporting that there was an investigation happening in Massachusetts where we've seen drones flying around. In Natick, it's linked to arrest of 2 Iranians, and we actually have the criminal complaint, which was filed under seal, a highly sensitive document from the District of Massachusetts. The U.S. government, the DOJ, arresting and criminally charging Mahdi Mohammed Sadeghi and Mohammed Abedini, and it's related to drones. Now, they were arrested in Massachusetts, but the drones that they had an issue with were overseas in Jordan. And so we're asking ourselves, is there any relation? Because we've also seen that the governments of New Jersey, I believe, made other arrests for other hobbyist drones operators who were flying their drones in what looked like a response to try to investigate the other drones. Okay, so a lot of drone arrests and drone activity is happening. These guys were just arrested, and they were arrested domestically in the United States. And so, of course, the question is, what were they doing here if they were flying drones and killing Americans overseas? Here is the headline from WCVB. It says they were in connection with a deadly drone strike that actually killed some people over in Jordan. Here's how the DOJ reported this, saying the founder of an Iranian company was arrested for providing material support to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard and a scheme to procure sensitive U.S. technology to use in their drones. And one of those killed 3 U.S. service members, right? So this dude got arrested, a dual U.S. Iranian national of Natick, Mass, arrested along with this guy, 38. Mohammed and Mohammed, Mahdi Mohammed and Mohammed got arrested.
I don't know.
Charged in federal court in Boston, conspiring to export sophisticated electronic components from the United States in violation of export rules. Sadeghi was arrested today, made an initial appearance in Massachusetts. According to court documents, he's the founder and director of a company called Sanat Danesh Rapuyan Affleck Company. It's a big name. That manufactures navigation modules used in the Iranian military's drone program. SDRA main business is sale of proprietary navigation systems known as the Saphir navigation system. As alleged in court documents, they conspired to export this technology. Laws restrict that. So what he did is he established a front company in Switzerland. Today, the Justice Department, they had a whole press briefing on it. They were very excited about this. You can see FBI Boston came out. They all stood in front of a podium. And here's what that looked like. They said, FBI Boston special agent in charge. Her name is Jody Cohen. Probably no relation to Michael. And our partners announced national security charges against an Iranian man and a dual U.S. Iranian citizen living in Massachusetts in connection with a fatal drone strike that killed 3 U.S. soldiers and injured 40 others. Terrible. So they had their press release. Here's what the complaint looks like. You can see this one came out, an affidavit in support of a criminal complaint. This guy says, I'm an FBI agent, and I have been since 2016, currently investigating export problems. I'm familiar with how people try to get around these rules. Now, the facts are my personal observations, and here's what I figured out. Abedini was a co-founder, and he works for that company. Now, the overwhelming majority of SDRA's net sales came from the sale of its navigation system called the Saphir navigation system, and they sold that to Iran. It's a strategic missile, air, and space force within the IRGC, and they have counterintelligence under the supreme leader of Iran. Now, Sadeghi was an employee of the company, and then they founded another company in Switzerland to maneuver the info to Switzerland, so it doesn't look like it's going directly to Iran. Their near exclusive sale of the system to the Iranians also benefited the Iranians. Based on my training, I know that they develop UAVs, which has been provided to and utilized by Iran-backed militias across the Middle East. And remember, we saw that story about these drones flying around New York and New Jersey from that other Republican representative who said that there was an Iranian mothership off the coast, saying this Saphir navigation system has played a direct role in attacking U.S. troops. On January of this year, 3 U.S. service members were killed. More than 40 others were injured. The military outpost is known as Tower 22. The drone that caused the death was recovered, and the drone analyzed by the FBI. That analysis found Sadraco Ltd, also known as the SDRA, in the data strings on the microcontroller. The analysis found that the firmware used in the navigation system was a version of Cepher. So this guy's providing software to drones that are blowing up Americans. Wars Act, right? Signed executive orders. We protect our stuff. There's export controls. You can't ship sensitive stuff out. We know that the Iranians are on the list of don't ship stuff to them. Among its activities, they've actively targeted nationals of the United States and allies for killing. They're very upset about Soleimani's death after Trump took him out on that tarmac. And here are some more about these people. This guy currently serves as the administrator for the Iranian Space Agency. And since at least 2014, they've sold stuff to to that government entity. They sell integrated and inertial navigation systems. These military applications have been part of their business plan since at least 2014. And they've been doing it, obviously, for a while. Then they created a business proposal in August 2015 for an elite group in Iran. They sought a loan for almost $800,000, and then they scheduled meetings to talk about
More
this.
minutes, we're going to Rumble.
Here's some of the conversation. Based on the investigation, I say person 1 and person 2 understood that their plans to set up the companies, they knew they were in violation of the law. Here's how I know. For example, on December 3rd, 2015, person 2 sent an email to Sadegate and person 1 to schedule a meeting. In that email, he knew that person 1 was the CEO and the president and owner of this company and asked to have the weekends off. Person 1 said, you can have all the weekends off if you want, if you promise to bring me some chai when I'm in jail, bring me something delicious when I'm sitting around in solitary confinement. Similarly, on August 1st, Sadegate asked person 1 for input on the name of the sister company, stating, after all, it is all yours. I guess I should know what name it is when I am in court getting sentenced. Okay, so they're like joking, like, no, it's all good. Yeah, no, I'll see you in prison. And they just kept doing it. Yikes. From in at least or about August 2018, they've been shipping this stuff out. They have licenses that they're not getting. And Abedini was procuring these parts. Then while a student, he sought parts from another U.S. company. He says, I'm studying, I need these for sensors, okay, for my PhD thesis in robotics. Yeah. U.S. company said, we can't give you those sensors because there's laws. Then he traveled to Switzerland, and then there he completed projects, and those products were shipped to Switzerland, okay? So he just goes to Switzerland. He says, well, I'm going to do my thesis and study my PhD over there. Great. Then they shipped them over there. Then there were emails. Company 1 advised Abedini, saying, you cannot take those parts to Iran. He sent an email to the officials at a Geneva airport in Switzerland, asking whether he could transport, quote, sample parts. He's like, do you think I can get these sample parts in my luggage? He falsely told Swiss officials that they were general parts with no restrictions. He's like, these are just like Legos, just like Legos. Don't even worry about it. He attached the invoice for the company to the email. And according to the company and their export classification page, you can't do that. Then he traveled to Iran. I have reason to believe he took those components in his luggage in violation of U.S. law. Now, between those parts also included microcontrollers. Then they worked together in Iran. Then they placed more orders from U.S. people to get more so they could reverse engineer them and put them in their drones.
This is Robert Gouveia.
Same thing happened here. They were going through Hong Kong and other places, and they were just setting up fronts. So you can see this just goes on and on and on. So this is good work from this special agent, obviously following this guy for a very long time, navigation algorithms and more. Now, does that have anything to do with the drones that we're seeing in the skies? Who knows? But Homeland also released this report They said, all right, there's a joint statement for all you people who are so nervous about this stuff. Relax. Here's a statement from Homeland, FBI, FAA, and the DOD about how crazy everybody is. There are more than 1 million drones lawfully registered with the FAA in the United States. And there are thousands of commercial, hobbyist, and law enforcement drones that fly around in the sky at any given day. With the technology landscape evolving, we expect that number increases over time. Now, the FBI has received more than 5,000 reported drone sightings in the last few weeks, with approximately 100 leads generated, which means you're all just crazy. And the federal government is supporting state and local officials in investigating these reports. Consistent with each of our unique missions and authorities, we are working quickly to prioritize and follow these leads. We have sent advanced detection technology to the region, and we have sent trained visual observers too, like Adam Kinzinger. Having closely examined the technical data and tips from concerned citizens, we assess that the sightings to date include a combination of lawful commercial drones, hobbyist drones, and law enforcement drones, as well as manned fixed-wing aircraft, helicopters, and stars mistakenly reported as drones. We have not identified anything anomalous and do not, I'm surprised they didn't say the moon too, assess the activity, and it's the moon, you're also saying, activity to date to present a national security or public safety risk in civilian airspace in New Jersey or other states in the Northeast. Saying, that said, we do recognize concerns among many communities. We continue to support state and local authorities with advanced detection technology and support law enforcement. We urge Congress, though, to enact counter UAS legislation when it reconvenes that would expand existing drone authorities. Now, additionally, there have been a limited number of visual sightings of drones over military facilities in New Jersey and elsewhere, including within restricted airspace. Such sightings near or over DOD are not new. DOD takes unauthorized access over its airspace seriously, coordinates with local authorities as appropriate. Local commanders are actively engaged to ensure that they are appropriately detecting and putting mitigation measures in place. Okay, so that's from Homeland. And I think, again, they're saying everybody's crazy. And the stuff that's up there are lawful commercial drones, or they're lawful law enforcement drones, or they're manned fixed-wing aircraft, or helicopters, stars, could be many things. Maybe it's even the moon, who knows? So that's what they say. We also saw that Newark, FBI Newark, said, please don't shine lasers up there. FBI Newark and New Jersey State Police want to warn the public about an increase in pilots being hit in the eyes with lasers because people are shining them at the drones or whatever's up there. FBI Newark and others saying, don't do it. They've been out every night for several weeks to legally track down operators acting illegally or with nefarious intent. However, there could be dangerous and deadly consequences if manned aircraft are targeted mistakenly. Mis-ID often occurs when they're mistaken for other objects like manned aircraft, celestial bodies like planets or stars. To improve accuracy, a variety of tools and techniques can be used to assist with visual identification. This is critical. Now, there are many different websites that can give you ideas of what's up there. And so just look to see, but don't shine lasers up in the sky. Now, John Kirby was out yesterday explaining more on this. Here's what that interview sounded like with Fox.
Now, to talk about these mysterious drones flying over parts of the U.S., White House National Security Communications Advisor, retired Admiral John Kirby. John, thanks for being here. You hear all of these officials. You've heard a lot of concern, a lot of coverage. Where are you tonight on this?
As we look at the information we've got, Brett, and we've now examined some 5,000 different sightings, we've added detection capabilities, additional observers. As you and I stand here today, to date, our assessment is that this is lawful, legal, commercial, hobbyist, and even law enforcement aircraft activity. Some of it's manned,
so they know what it is.
Some of it's unmanned. We absolutely acknowledge that a lot of these are probably drones, but they're flying legally, and it is legal to fly drones in non-restricted airspace as long as you're registered with the FAA. And there's thousands and thousands of these kinds of flights every single day. I think there's more than 1 million drones that are registered with the FAA.
Okay, so the narrative is shifting from it's not happening or there's no evidence of it being a problem to now it is happening. but it's lawful and legal.
Just in the United States alone.
But this is different, it seems.
Yes.
These are bigger. They're
See
6
you guys
feet
over
in
in Rumble.
diameter, a lot of them. There was a reporter the other day that saw 50 coming from the coast at one pack.
Swarm.
I know when you first came out, you